Hi, David.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Terrence. Oh. Boom. I'm coming out. Come on. Let's go. Every day it's a fight. Trust me, you're talking to the wrong guy, pal.
You earned it.
David Moore, Dallas Morning News. With CD out, how do you handle the reps with moving into his spot? Do you do it across the board for a while and see who emerges and go from there? Just to talk about handling how the extra stuff.
To be honest with you, we're really working exactly how we always would. And I think and I assume everybody does it this way. We call it recall, but we're in an install phase, so we're not really lining up trying to beat the defense or vice versa. We have an install. We have two installs that we go through yesterday, today, that are install 1A, and 1B. So we'll just continue, because the most important thing we got to come out of training camp is we got to hit the target for the menus. Whether it's particularly in the receiver room, just getting all the route combinations ran, because as we've really pushed with our players, and they've done a tremendous job, is the off-season program is really for the learning. Now's the application. We need to get the connection between the receivers and the quarterbacks and take advantage of all these great reps we have out here in Oxnard, take advantage of this weather. So it's really just getting the volume towards your timing, get the rhythm and everything you're trying to get done in the pass game. So really, we're not affected by that, because we would be operating the exact same way.
Clarence Hill, Forward Star Telegram. Clarence Hill.
Absolutely.
Micah Parsons, obviously missed some offseason.
Yeah.
What kind of shape is he in, and what changes are you have in store for him with Zimmer's new defense?
I think Mike is in excellent shape. He's a little lighter than he's been. I think he looks great. He's obviously been very busy, in the summer, but he's definitely has brought himself in, in great shape. I've been very impressed with what he's put on tape so far. But yeah, this is the time you go through those things. I think when we looked at last year's training camp from an offensive perspective, when we were in the install phase, it was a new protection system for us. Micah was able to get a lot of different matchups on the offense and so forth. So now we're in year two. So, we're going to obviously treat him a little differently than the way he was treated last year. And I just think, without getting into specifics, the way Mike Zimmer and the defensive staff are using him is going to be a really good challenge for us. But yeah, he looks good. He's, just playing a couple different positions. But yeah, I'm impressed with him.
What can Zimmer do to help him take his game to the next level? I mean, obviously he did great under Dan Quinn. Zimmer's a different coach. What about Zimmer can help Micah take his game to the next level? I
think just continue to grow like all players do. It's a second system now in this league. So, his experience in the old system was excellent, obviously very productive for him. But now, take his game to another level, and the production of his teammates that will come off of that too. So just keeping the build, and I think anytime you switch systems, it's a great learning experience for players and coaches.
Mike McCarthy with ESPN. Jerry mentioned ambiguity 1,000 times yesterday in his press conference. How are you at dealing with the ambiguity regarding your situation, and what may them hold in the future and things like that?
Ambiguity. I was hoping you'd wear your sport coat today. I made a mistake turning the TV on last night. I saw you in the sport coat. I was shocked, but yeah, I know you had one. It looked good. You look good, but yeah, I just think, like anything, all those questions that where the term ambiguity is involved in, those are fair questions, fair topics, but. Yeah, I just think that this is the world we live in. There's a business component of this league, and I think we talked a lot about it yesterday. So, and I know you guys are ready to see the ball fly in the air and talk ball. So that's why I'm here, with no ambiguity.
John Michaud with The Athletic. With Mazi Smith Where do you think he's at right now? I know he's able to do a little bit out there, but and weight-wise, is he where he needs to be?
Yeah, he's there. He's getting there. He's done a really good job, just kind of staying on the plan of coming back. So he's feeling really good with the shoulder. I know Harold and the strength staff felt really good with him, with the physicals and some of the testing they did when he came back. So, yeah, he's off to a fresh start.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. We talked a lot about Mozzie's weight last year. Is he at the weight that you want him at right now?
He's close. Yeah, he's close, and that's what training camp's for. But I really like the way he's bringing it back. He didn't just jump out there and try to put it all back on. So, but have you guys not seen him yet? Yeah. I mean, he looks good. Yeah, he looks good.
Okay, one more. Malik Hooker was on Twitter during the offseason talking about Parsons maybe shouldn't do the live stream, and they have talked since. And I know you talked to Parsons a lot. Did you talk to Mike about, hey, live streaming, making sure your teammates understand that you're all in with what's going on around here? Yeah,
I think if you were able to, be in my seat and be involved for what I see every day, every guy in that locker room's all in. I mean, just the amount of work, and frankly, I stayed in Dallas more this year than I ever have, just because of Izzy's volleyball tournament there and the wedding that my daughter Alex went through. So my point is I was in the office every day. So I was so impressed with how many guys still stay in town in the schedule that they keep. So yeah, Mike included, and I know he did a lot this summer with the kids camps and so forth. So yeah, trust me, that's no concern. And I think anytime when we get together as a team, which we have the last 2 days, you address the things that you look for in the locker room and how you deal with those things. And it's more for the first-year players to understand, the power of social media. Please try to represent what's really going on here, because obviously it's not as juicy as some of the stuff that does go out there too. So, and I think, working for the Dallas Cowboys, we're the content capital of the universe. So, we get a pretty good education on how these things go, and just being honest and real about it, and just make sure that we're confronting. I am a believer conflict is good. I think you have to have those conversations, and I think when you do, good things come out of it.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. What does the assimilation period look like right now for those rookie offensive linemen, and specifically as it pertains to eventually getting them first team reps?
Yeah, we're in ramp up. I think these are all great questions. They're probably a few days away, and we get into pads and so forth. But the biggest thing we're doing right now is just getting the operation, getting practice to look the way it needs to look. That's critical each and every year. So, and the speed of it is always different for the first-time players. I mean, I think if you would talk to them in the locker room, that's going to be one of the things that's things go a little faster here. Plus, especially being on 11-hour schedule. It's the efficiency of how we have to operate is intense, and it's awesome, because I think it clearly helps prepare our guys to play faster, line up faster, get in and out of things faster, and you get that mental challenge, that emotional challenge. It's really good for the development of your team. So, but those guys are doing good. But once again, it really gets going when we put the pads on, particularly in the trenches.
Mike Ducey, Fox 4. What's impressed you about Zeke since he's been back with you guys, and what role do you see for him?
Zeke's always been a super bright football player. Obviously, I mean, we all understand his physical talents and the production, and the guy's been a workhorse, for the majority of his career. But it's been cool to watch him dive into the new protection scheme and the nuances of our offense that are, totally different for him, that, prior to when he went up to New England, and, part of his New England experience too. So just like another reason I'm bringing it up, because today he had a great answer, and Brian Schottenheimer has a process that, we ask questions to start off the offensive meeting, and he just really had a great answer, in a very informative answer, related to some experience. And I love it when our vets give those type of answers for our young guys to hear that, the detail of it and so forth. So it's just great to have him in the room. And then I think, frankly, for all the things he's accomplished in this league, I think Zeke is maybe one of his best assets. He's a great teammate. I mean, his love for the locker room and for his fellow man it's infectious. So it's great to have him back.
Hey, Mike, Pat Donnie, NBC DFW.
Oh, which Pat?
There's two of
that
us.
Pat?
You're Patrick.
Okay.
Gotcha. My mom says otherwise, but that's all right. Hey, Duron Bland, how his great season last year, how does that change expectations from you all for him this year, and what are you looking for from Duron in training camp?
Great question. They're all been great questions, so we're not sensitive today. But I think, because I was just talking about this earlier, but I think Duron, it's going to be exciting to see him be the guy, especially, you got Trayvon coming back, but last year, that first year starter, when you have that kind of production and now teams have a chance to study you, and I'm excited to see him go, because you talk about a guy that just brings the his lunch bucket every day and goes to work. So very detailed. He's had had a great off-season program, looks good. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be really cool to see him get after it this year. Patrick.
All right. Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Going back to the young receivers coach, yesterday you had the law firm of Jalen all making plays out there. Can you talk about your expectation for those young guys making the year 2 jump and just taking advantage of the opportunities until CD gets here? Yeah,
I think that goes right with the question earlier. I mean, that's the beauty of this time of year, and I think it's the beauty of the work that Dak and those guys have all put in. If you watch practice yesterday, like the first completion in the 7-on-7, we call them Audubon throws when you got the one-on-ones outside the numbers. So when you see your guys come out and just bang a couple of those really quick versus tight coverage, that's from investment of reps that they've put the extra time in. So, and you love that. And I think the Jalen's are they're jumping out of their shoes. They're the identification of when they know when they're the primary receiver versus secondary receiver. The details is where I'm going with this. Is it's always fun when you see the younger players take that jump. So, and it makes us all better.
Saudis with The Athletic. Mike, just to bounce off of that, Dak was talking about Jalen Tolbert's catch yesterday and talked about the confidence that he has to throw that ball. How have you seen that grow between those two in the last 3 years? And what's the challenge for Tolbert coming in with the draft status that he did to now take the next step in the third? Definitely.
I mean, that is a development throw. I mean, if you go back and look at the video of it, I mean, you look at the time when, Dak hits his back foot and he's getting ready to throw the ball, and then you freeze it. You're not saying he's open. And you don't make that throw last year. You definitely don't make it 2 years ago. So, that's a great example of what we're talking about, two guys being on the same page, the trust and belief of the ball placement, him having the athletic ability to use his catching radius to get to the ball that's clearly away from the DB. So, that's why these practices are so important, because you can't get enough of those kind of reps. And even in just helmets and shorts, that's a quality rep. That's a rep that was shown today a couple times, because that's real football. We talk a lot about pure football. This is the most pure football opportunity that we have as a football team, to come out here and to really focus on football 11 hours a day. Great facility. The functionality of this place is remarkable, and I just think that's a great example of that.
Joe Hoyt, Lone Star Live. John Fossil was one of the leading voices on the new kickoff rules. I'm just kind of curious, how creative has he gotten, without giving trade secrets, how creative has he gotten, and what's the ramp up kind of with teaching the new kickoff? Well,
I think it's like anything. Anytime you have anything new, obviously John was right in the middle of that from day one. Just love all the, because I was able to see the research that John has done. Really, it's been about the last 3 years. I mean, this has been a conversation that those guys, the special teams coaches, put a lot of time into. So, but yeah, it's frankly, he has the crown that he wears proudly of having more special teams time than anybody in the history of the National Football League, because of that head coach that he has. It's unbelievable that he gets that much time. So the importance of giving him that extra time that he needs now has been, if our pass game suffers, I'm going to kick him in the ass, that's for sure. But but it's and I'm obviously trying to avoid the scheme part of it. But it's going to be exciting. I think I love the way they went about it. the work they put into it. And then I get it, the unknown, and there's always going to be the questions and the anxious of the unknown. But it's another play with ball in space, and I think it's going to be an exciting play. I think the real thing is not as much about scheme, but it will also be the matchup. So that's, those are some of the things I would look for as the league gets going in week one. Because let's be honest, no one's going to show anything in the preseason. So, but yeah, it's been really cool. John's obviously extremely creative, but the buy-in from the players, I think, is his greatest asset as a coach. It's a real, it's a real fraternity that we have on special teams, and he's the guy that stirs the drink over. He does a tremendous job.
Mike, Dak's obviously coming off a terrific regular season, second in the MVP voting. You've coached a number of quarterbacks, though, that have achieved the ultimate success. Right. As you get into this season, what are you looking for from Dak to take that next step, to find some way to improve his game even subtly? And then also, do you feel any sort of kinship with him because you two are in a similar contractual situation as you enter this year?
Well, I mean, I'll start with the kinship, and that business has nothing to do with it. I can tell you that. I have really made, the effort that I feel like you need to make as the play caller and the involvement in the offense to be in every meeting with him in the spring, and then, keeping that pace here in the training camp. So I love the connection that we have, both on the field and off the field. But Dak is he's definitely an individual that you have to worry about too much and not enough. And I think all the great quarterbacks I've been blessed to be around, they go back to square one, and they start back through their process. And at the end of the day, it's more about their time, with the younger players and the new players, and building that with the perimeter guys. And he's, the workout that he had up, Brandon and the whole crew going up there to Oregon was, it's just to hear the details of it was, I don't know if I've ever heard of one that the amount of work that they got done and the quality work that was done up there too. So he does all the little things is the point I'm making. So yeah, I have no concerns about the way he approaches this.
On CD, Brandon talked about the fact that CD kind of doesn't need to be here at this point because of the talent that he has, because of the work ethic that he has to get things done away from camp. He compared him to Aaron Donald and said Aaron didn't show up to multiple training camps and won 3 Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm wondering where, as the head coach, where you are on the balance of CD obviously having the ability to get the job done, but with your need to have him deal with the rest of the
Yeah, I mean, obviously CD production and the way he plays the game speaks for itself. But I mean, just really, CD's in a business situation. That's really what it is, as far as my opinion.
Yeah. Tim Kalishaw, Dallas Morning News. It's news to us. Yesterday, Jerry said you can make a mistake by using the Green Bay game to make a bunch of decisions. Having said that, sometimes coaches do different things, put up signs, motivate different ways. How do you want players, your staff, and I guess yourself, to look at that game, to take out of that game, that experience going into this year?
Well, I think it's like anything. I mean, when you go through, the loss at the end of the year, there's only one team that doesn't have that feeling, in the playoff tournament. There's always a tremendous level of disappointment. And then obviously ours was higher in the area of frustration because of the way we played. But that's frankly is what the off season's for, and and it takes a while. And I think I can clearly state that losing that game for me personally was not easy. So I get it. I get the fans' frustration, but we're past that. That was part of our cut-ups. I mean, our guys have seen that game over and over and over again, as far as the way it's the situation breakdowns that we have, and I'm sure they'll see it through certain points of training camp, because at the end of the day, every time you line up, win or lose, it's a learning experience in this league, and it is the most competitive league. And I know from my experience, I mean, you just look at we just talked about the 2-minute drill. 70% of the regular season games come down to a 2-minute drill. 90 6%. So that's really what we're preparing for, and that's what this time of year is about. So, you know, and those are obviously fair questions, and you have to ask them. But we're past that. You know, that's not what we're talking about. That's really not where our energy is. The only time I really talk about it is when I have to, and I've spent time in Green Bay, Wisconsin recently too. So, and didn't try not, you know. So I get it, but that's not. You know, that's not where my mind's at, and that's not where my energy is, because I'd be complete hypocrite to what needs to be done as far as utilization of energy, as far as what we're going to do this year. You know, it's all about the opportunity this year, and that's all that matters. And I think anytime we spend conversation, energy away from that, we're not taking advantage of this opportunity.
KJ Doyle, KRGB, you and Coach Zimmer obviously spent so many years as rivals in the NFC North against each other. Yeah. What's it been like just to now, the last few months, share conversations with him, be on the same staff, and have those moments and pick his brain on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I've always liked Mike's approach. You know, I got to know him a little bit we were on a coaching Madden coaches committee, and you know, shoot you straight, no BS. So you know, it's a personality I prefer. So we kind of. We've always gotten along from that perspective, but it's been awesome just to go through the scheme parts of it. You know, he has a package that, you know, he's known for that goes in today, and so just the back and forth now, you know, across the hall, and really the time that him and Paul give to Brian Schottenheimer and our quarterbacks, and so it's you know, it's all part of that education growth that you're always looking for as a coach, but yeah, it's great to have him here.
You mentioned earlier the trip to Lake Oswego. Can you give an example of the detail that they shared with you, and just in general, 18 guys getting together 2 weeks before training camp, what it says about them and Dak scheduling that?
Yeah, I don't recall, and I don't have a lot of, you know, comparables to give you, but 18 guys that's a lot of players, you know, and to be able to operate and do 2-minute drills and things like that, have 3 quarterbacks, you know, and the things they did off the field too. So the bonding opportunities, the meals. O2X is a, you know, human performance organization that we've been working with. You know, we brought those guys in minicamp. They're tremendous. They're going to be here actually tomorrow. So, and Dak has an established relationship with them, and our perimeter guys now have been around him, I think, on 3 different opportunities. So, you know, everything they did was about improving towards their professional life, and obviously, you know, it's about those personal relationships that they're building, and that just makes everybody better. So I think they could speak on it obviously a lot better than I can, but they, you know, every one of those guys has been raving about that trip, so I think that speaks volumes.
Mike Coleman, KLTV Channel 7, are you pleased with the progress of Marvion Overshaw?
Oh, absolutely. If anything, he had too much progress yesterday. He had a great day yesterday, and I just think the way he goes with his pace and energy and his explosiveness. So I had a really good day yesterday. Frankly, we're going to keep him off special teams today because we do have a plan for him coming off of that, you know, coming off the injury. But yeah, he's done everything. You know, those 3 young guys in there working every single day. The 3 Musketeers. I mean, that's about as an impressive rehab that I've seen. So, yeah, he's doing. I feel great about where he is.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio on the Fan. If there's a competition battle at center, how do you go about deciding whether the first team reps are shared, or is it preferred to pick one guy early, because with that quarterback center exchange, neither one of them have had a lot of work with Dak?
Well, there's a couple components going into that too, but also, you know, I think you got to look at the reps of the quarterback. So to answer your question, we're not just trying to lock in one center with one quarterback. So it's important for all those guys to get to work, especially in the practice part of it. And you know, we do recognize, you know, when we get to the end of practice, we call it a 2 spot. So we'll get the younger guys down there and the older guys too. So that's all built in, and what we'll keep track of.
Last one, Clarence. Dak with the OT X thing and going out to Oregon. There's so much talk about his contract Does that speak volumes about him being all in this year and his commitment to the team?
Definitely. I mean, Dak's the same individual every day. He's the most consistent, you know, really co-worker that I think I've ever gone with. I mean, he has such a good process. It's been exciting to watch the growth and the gifts in his personal life, and just the joy that he expresses on that on a daily basis. So yeah, this guy. He never blinks. I've never seen him blink.
Okay.
Thank you.